Okay, so I spoke to a few staff last week. My understanding is there's only one that's broken, and we've submitted a request to get it repaired about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and we're still waiting for an engineer to come and get it fixed. My understanding is that the ovens are all still working as ovens though, so even though bits are broken, all of the ovens are actually still serviceable, so we can still use all of the ovens at the moment. Thank you. Was that Zach that said that?
That is Jacob.
Jacob. Is Jacob here? Thanks very much, Jacob.
Any other points on this matter? No, right, moving on. Question 2, submitted by Peter Chalmers, who sadly could not be with us today. Where are the water fountains?
Good, so there's one water fountain currently in place down in K1. You'll notice the K2 water fountain, where it used to be, there's a wooden box on it. And that's because we've ordered another water cooler, but when we order a water cooler, because it breaks sometimes, we also have to buy a service plan, so that if it gets broken accidentally or on purpose, we can phone the technician and they'll come out and fix it very, very quickly. And the challenge for us has been finding a company that can come out and agree to come out and fix it as quickly as we need it fixed. My hope is that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should have a water cooler back in K2 in the position that it was in before, which is where that little wooden box is near the entrance at the moment.
Right. Any other points on that matter? No? Alright, moving on. This one was submitted by Mr. Sagalar, who also couldn't be with us, I don't think.
Is he it?
Alright. Yes.
Dr. Sagalar, please, doctor.
Yeah. What is your best score in a sports competition?
A best score? Well, personal best. But personal best at high jump was 117. I am not a very fast runner. I used to come 5th or 4th in all my long distance running, so I wasn't quite good enough to make that medal position. As a PE teacher, I was one of these PE teachers who liked lots of different sports and was pretty good at lots of different sports, but was very good at no sports. So I don't really have any personal bests I don't really have anything like that. I'm disappointed. Above average, below excellence in sport. That's where I would place myself. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah, good.
Any other points on that matter? Alright, moving on. Question 4. Why can't seniors do horse riding?
What seniors?
Question for Ailey.
I think it's 4th, 5th and 6th year.
So ultimately, there is no reason that I'm aware of at the moment why they can't do horse riding, but I need to go away and look at it a little bit more. I'm not sure of the history around horse riding in the school, but I do know some of the primary children do horse riding, and I need to look into that a little bit more and maybe feed back to you later this term, if that's okay, Darren?
Yeah.
Great.
Any other points on that matter? No? Alright, moving on. Why is there no options on Monday through Thursday?
I don't know. Let me have a look at that and come back to you.
Alright, any other points on that matter? No? Alright, moving on. Question 6. Can the school get ECO, a digital community game?
Who is the question from?
Anonymous.
Anonymous, okay. So is this game on a... I'm asking the floor now. What's the name of the name of the game?
ECO.
ECO.
Yes.
Right.
ECO.
ECO. Is it a nice game?
I did not do my research.
Okay, so I'm not aware of the game. We generally don't buy games for buying games' sake. What we do is we buy physical devices or software that help you learn in classes. And if I felt that ECO was something that was going to be really beneficial to us, then I'd be happy to explore it. If it's just a game for a bit of a jolly, because someone likes it, then I'm afraid we wouldn't be buying it. But if it has real merit and adds to your education experience here, then I'm happy to explore anything, whether it's the eco game or anything else you want to pose to Darren or myself through these questions. That's fine.
Any other points on that matter? No? Okay, moving on. Why have some of the options stopped, such as the greenhouse idea or the sand pit?
I'm not entirely sure about those.
That picture is so funny.
Is that funny? Do you like that? Does it look like me, Hayley?
Yes, it does.
Does it? Is it alike? This is a few years old when I had different specs. So I'll have to get a new one done for my... These aren't new, but they're newer than those ones.
Okay.
All right? Thanks for the feedback, Hayley. Yeah, so I don't know specifically about the sandpit or the greenhouse, but Mr. Scott would like to feed in.
Yeah, so whoever asked that question, really the issue there was change of staff. Pandora, who was a PSA here, was very keen on the greenhouse that was going to be made from recycled bottles, but sadly Pandora got another job and has moved on, and we have not been able to find anyone else to take on that challenge of building the greenhouse. I know that Davey is very keen on the gardening out the back, but we've been so short-staffed that it's been very difficult to give anybody enough time to make some progress with that. I hope by spring things will be different and we can get back on track with that. Okay?
Good, thank you. And just to add to that, we had volunteers in our school a couple of weeks ago digging out all of the gardening areas so that as soon as we have someone who can pick this up, the gardens are ready to be used. And that saved an awful lot of work. So big thanks to our volunteers for coming in and doing that. Thanks, Darren.
Any other points on that matter?
No.
Right. Next question. Will outdoor education be restarting, and if so, when?
Good. So at the moment there is a group of staff that I've asked to come together to look at outdoor education. Obviously before we had an outdoor education teacher. We don't have that teacher anymore, so we need to look at how we deliver outdoor education. One thing I'm very keen to make sure is that we don't just do, if you like, outdoor education sports, but we look more broadly at what outdoor learning looks like, because we've actually got some really cool areas in the school, great areas across the city, and we live in Scotland, so we live in a very rich landscape of hills and trees and all these kinds of things, and we're just looking at how best to make good use of our time, good use of our staff, and make sure you get a very valuable experience. As far as when will it start again, my hope is some kind of outdoor ed reappears in the new year. That's my hope, but we'll have to wait and see what kind of work the staff group can do between now and the Christmas holidays.
Any other points on that matter? Oh, okay, moving on. This was submitted by Morgan Black. Can we improve the quality of food in the canteen?
So, is Matt there, is he? Let's get him out. So this is my 7th school I've been in, and I have to say the food here is some of the best school food I've ever had. And a lot of that is down to Matt. Now Matt, you might not know this, Matt originally was in the army, and he was a cook and a chef in the army. So he's used to doing really quite creative things with very little at his disposal. And what he does every day or every week is he looks at the ingredients he's got and he tries to make the very best use of them. And I personally think he does a very good job. And I think I'm a good judge because I do come obviously and eat with you guys in here at lunchtime sometimes. And I have yet to have a problem with the food. And I would also state right now, he makes the best school mac and cheese going. So if there's anything specifically, whose question was it?
Morgan Black.
Morgan. Is Morgan here? No. So if Morgan had any specific ideas, requests, then more than happy to speak to Matt. But I have to say, you do get a fantastic service from Matt and his team. And I'm very grateful for having that kind of effort go into your meals every day. Okay? Thank you.
Question 10. Where did you work last?
So before here, I was the head teacher at Pilrig Park School, which is a school for learners with learning disabilities, down in Leith. It's a secondary school. And before that, I was at Wester Hales Education Centre as the deputy head teacher there for 3 years.
Any other points on that matter?
Yep.
No, I'm not getting that.
Okay.
Question 11. Do you see any similarities between Kaimes and your last school?
Lots. For starters, we have groups of staff in this school and groups of staff in Pilrig Park who, like my other schools, do an awful lot for the children. But in Pilrig Park and in Kaimes, I would say I've seen that more and more and more. We don't just let you come in the building and just, not pay attention to you. We care for you. We plan for you. We try and give you what you need in the school day. And that's a really strong similarity between particularly Pilrig and Kaimes. I would say all my schools, but really strongly within special education, you do find very special staff in special education. We definitely have them here at Kaimes, and we definitely had them at Pilrig Park. And the other thing I would say is the honesty of the pupils. I really enjoy that. in my previous schools, I had good relationships with the children, but they were sometimes maybe weren't that honest, or they didn't feel they could come and speak to me, whereas a number of you just come up and tell me how it is. And I'm very grateful for that, because it means I know what's going on in the school a bit better, and I can help make things better. And I couldn't maybe do that in all of my other schools.
Next question. Gary, you might want to ask it yourself about the car park.
Oh,
Yeah, the car park.
no, we don't have to pay for the car park.
With the planning, the council are planning.
Well, I'm not aware of that, and at the moment there'll be no paying for parking your cars in the car park. If that changes, obviously I'll let you know. But I'm not aware of any payment scheme for that car park for our staff.
I think I'll speak to my MP.
Okay, you speak to your MP. Is that Dan?
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. No, not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other points on that subject? No? Okay. Question 13. What did you do before teaching?
I was at school. So I went to school, I did S1 to S6, I then went to university for 4 years, I then became a teacher. I think one thing that people may not know, the staff I think know, but the children don't, is that whilst I've been a teacher, I've done other jobs at the same time. So at one point, I was in charge of all of women and girls rugby in Tayside and Fife, working for Scottish Rugby Union. And then I was the manager of the under-20 women's rugby team whilst teaching. And then I was the team manager of the national women's rugby team going back about 5-6 years ago, whilst also teaching as well. I've done ski instructing up at Cairngorm, and I also do a bit of professional coaching in my spare time as well. So I do teach, and I've always taught, but I've liked to do other things at the same time as well.
Any further points on that matter?
I think he's missed out something important.
Oh, and I fly planes at the weekend.
Fly planes.
Yeah, that's not a job, but that's just for the love of it.
Anything else?
No. I'm going to the toilet.
Okay, Ailey, see you soon.
Final question.
All right.
When are we getting new K2 staff?
Okay, so there are 4 PSAs that we've interviewed and given jobs to across K1 and K2, and they will start to arrive probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Any further points on that matter? No. All right. So, to ask, there will be a ballot during Breakfast Club to see what date the next Headteacher question answer will take place on. Come see me to suggest a date. I believe that...
Can I just, before you go, folks, can I just say, I really enjoy that, and I'm very, very grateful to Darren for putting it together, and for you for sitting quietly and listening as we've gone through it, and I'm very happy to come back again and do the same thing again. Can we have a round of applause for Darren, please, for putting that together today? Okay, good job.
That's it.
Great stuff, well done.